Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Knife Chats with Tobias.
Well, happy Independence Day, everybody. That's right. Today is the 4th of July, Independence Day here in the United States of America. I thought what I would do today is show a bunch of knives made in the United States, specifically fixed blade knives, so big old knives that were made here in the United States. Well, what better way to start than with a pair of knives that I got from my brother-in-law after he passed away. My sister gave these knives to me, for those who don't know, my brother-in-law was a surgeon, and he was also a surgeon who served during the Vietnam War. And he was proud of the fact that he served during the Vietnam War, but also, as such, he was also a victim of Agent Orange because of his time spent there in Vietnam. But in any case, the two knives that I have of his that are fixed blades, well, one of them you have recently seen, and that is the Buck 119, and came in this wonderful pistol holster tile sheath, and a lot of people know of the Buck 119. Really nice knife. You got a little bit of a fuller up here, nice grind going on there. This knife was used by him. You've got the phenolic handle with the finger grooves, and the nice I believe that is a nickel silver spacer, also with looks like some kind of phenolic spacer on there, and then the aluminum pommel going on, and you've got a little spacer in there too. Really nice looking knife though, and you can see it there. And my brother-in-law was a big hunter, did a lot of hunting and stuff, and so I'm sure that is one of the reasons why he had this knife. And the other knife that I got from him was also a American-made fixed blade, and that is this one here, and this is the Ka-Bar 1207. And this time you have the what do they call these handles? The railroad spike aluminum pommel here. You've got the full push tang going through the stacked leather grip. You notice you have some finger grooves on the stacked leather grip as well, all the way back there. Got a nice little brass guard, and then again, look at the shine on that blade. But you can also see the scratches on there because, once again, this was a knife that he actually used. And I have cleaned it up a bit, but I'm not about to try and polish out all the cuts and everything in there. This was a knife that he used, and really nice knife, pretty cool. And I just thought I'd show you that one too. So there's two knives that were American made. Look at the wonderful leather sheath that came with that. Got the Ka-Bar logo right there. He definitely took really good care of his knives, but yeah, they were definitely used. And when they came to me, they came in the sheath. So they were stored in the sheath and with no real issues to it. Typically when you hear about all the problems with the sheaths, it's because either it's pretty cheap metal or pretty cheap sheaths when you have problems. But really, you do not want to store your knife in a wet leather sheath or anything like that. And it is probably best not to store them long term in a sheath. But in any case, he did, and there was no damage done to them. Let's move on to two other knives. As long as I showed you a couple of his hunting knives, I will show you mine. I've shown this one before, so I'm not going to dwell on it. This is my Camillus fighting knife. This was the knife that was given to me by my father when I was about 17 years old, somewhere around that. And he knew I was going to be going into the Army, and he got this knife for me. And for Christmas, actually. Got this one for me, and he also got one for my brother, who was 3 years older than me, who is also going to be going into the Army. So that's why we got the knives. And as you can tell, it has definitely been used and sharpened on more than one occasion. But it is the classic. And there's the sheath, which is definitely seen better days, but it's good enough for me. You can see some of the cracks and everything else in there. This went through many a swamps, many a cold winters, and in not only Chicago, but also up in Wisconsin, and also in Germany. I did not serve in a wartime military, but I was serving in the peacetime military in Germany, and I carried this knife with me when I was there. So, and has definitely seen a lot of fun. Another knife, another Camillus. As long as I'm showing that Camillus, I want to show you this one. Now I've got all sorts of jet pilot knives or Camillus, Air Force survival knives, whatever you want to call them. But I wanted to show you this one because this one is a little different than most of the others that are out there. And this is the Camillus 1010. And I keep meaning to do a video on this, but I have not done it yet. Now, when I got this one, I did not get the sharpening stone. I might buy a replacement stone for it. It isn't that big of a deal. What I wanted to show you though is the finish on this one, because the Camillus 1010 was different than your typical Camillus Air Force survival knife, in that, as you notice, it is all shiny metal. It's still 1095 carbon steel, but now it has a bright metal finish. That's the way they listed it, and you see the pommel and everything else there. Still a bright metal finish there, and you can see, what is the date on that? This one says 11/1981, and you see it right there. Now, compare that finish to one from 1978 that was more of an issue item, and you can see the difference there. You have the not so bright metal finish, you had the Parkerized blade and everything else. And what these were sold as when Camillus made them, they sold these as the astronaut knife. They would sell it as the jet pilot and astronaut knife. They were in bright metal finish. Kind of cool, but it's one of the harder ones to find in the Camillus lineup. So that's why I have it. As you know, if you take a look at past videos, you know I have just about every version of an Air Force survival knife that was made for issue, including the last one, which is right here, the current issue, the ASEC, the Air Crew Survival and Egress knife, and with the new nylon sheath and everything, and also the other part of it, which is the escape tool for cutting like your parachute lines, and also your sharpening stone right here. So this is the ASEC. This is the Air Force survival knife with the 5-inch blade. The earlier Camillus jet pilot knife with the 6-inch blade. And then finally, we're looking at the 1010 astronaut knife. So, yeah, got quite a few of this pattern of knife. So let's move on from that to a couple other knives. Let's go back to some hunting knives. And the two I'm going to show you are right here. One of them is newer than the other one. And in case you haven't caught on yet, I collect a lot of Camillus knives. This one here is Case. This is the very first Case fixed blade I picked up. This is the, what do they call it? The Ridgeback Hunter. And it's a really cool knife. I've done a video on this one too. I bought the one with the rosewood handle. These are Pack-A-Wood rosewood handles, I believe. Wonderful pins there. You do notice it is full tang, nickel silver pins. you do have the little pinch down there on the wood, so it drops closer to the blade as you move forward. Got a wonderful grind going on there. You got jimping here and jimping up at the top of the blade for placing of your finger when you're skinning and stuff, because this is obviously a nice little skinning knife. Now, the other one I just had up also was from Camillus, and this is the 1013 Yellowstone. It's a Camillus sword brand of swept skinner. And again, a really nice looking knife. The handles here, you notice you've got the nickel silver pins, and originally these knives had stag handles, but this is in the Camillus Durastag. It's a later one, but as you can tell, they do a pretty good job of copying the stag with their Durastag, and that's because the Durastag was molded from a piece of actual stag, and then they just use that as the mold for the Delrin that they would dye and then make look like a burnt stag. Got the jimping up there also. Really feels good in the hand. Just a really nice little knife too. So there's a Camillus Durastag and the Case Ridgeback Hunter. Let's see, couple more knives. Let's go modern. Okay, first off, my Pink Izula, which is wrapped in zombie green paracord, because nothing looks better than pink and green together. Now, this Pink Izula I won from Smoky Mountain Knife Works in a giveaway because I knew something about Steve Kuntz that nobody else knew, and no, that was a different giveaway. I don't remember what I won the Pink Izula. It was some kind of giveaway on Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I don't remember what trivia question I had, but I got it right, and I got this one. Izula Rowan. And they don't make a lot of pink ones. I paracord wrapped it myself. Originally, I had it in tan, then I did it in green. I got the little neck sheath here. All in all, it just looks really cool. Yeah, a lot of people don't like pink knives, but once you get a Pink Izula, it's like you need to pick up other pink knives. And I do have other pink knives, but no other USA-made pink knives. But here's my Pink Izula. Here's my other Izula that I dropped. I did this one all out. I went ahead and picked up the nylon sheath, the ballistic nylon sheath that is MOLLE compatible. And what I have here is the other Izula. And this one is in the stone wash or black wash, stone wash, something like that. But it's basically, if you notice, it isn't the real thick powder coating. It is a much thinner powder coating, and looks like it's already scratched up, which is good because using it doesn't make the knife look like it's been used. And I also went ahead and picked up the small micarta handles on there. I'll tell you the truth, the paracord wrapping is just as good as the micarta handle, but once you get used to that handle, it feels really good. I have it set up for left-hand carry on a belt, which is okay also. This is one of those nice small knives that you can definitely just toss in a pocket also, which is the cool thing about the Izula. You can just put it in a pocket, throw it in the sheath, put it in a pocket, and you're ready to go. But I definitely like the Izula. It's one of my favorite knives, and I do occasionally carry this knife. So the Izula is pretty cool. And then I had to go ahead and pick up this one too because, well, this is the JG5 designed by John Gibson. You see right there, made in the USA. And this is a modern version of the Nessmuck, and it's a pretty cool knife. See there, SE, made in USA, 1095, and the SE JG5. And you see the wonderful Nessmuck blade. I have not done much with this, but it has the same coating that that I found on the Izula. It's like it's just like a stonewash finish, which I like a whole lot better. This is a much thinner coating, and you can cut pretty well with it. I have not done a lot with this yet, but I definitely want to. And you've got the interesting micarta handles. This is the brown burlap micarta. From what I understand, the JG5 is an exclusive to Smoky Mountain Knife Works. I know the brown burlap micarta handles were, but I think the knife itself is also an exclusive to them. And last, you got the lanyard hole there. But really nice knife, and I have not used it yet, but I definitely got to get out and do something with it. So I might be taking it with me soon. Take it out in the woods this summer and do something with it. But JG5. And let's see, what else did I want to show you? Oh, I think this would not be complete without looking at a couple Bowie knives. All right, before I show these Bowie knives, let's define what a big Bowie knife is. A big Bowie knife is a knife that is going to have a blade that is over 9 inches long. Okay, the blade has to be at least 9 inches long, and the knife itself is going to have to be at least 14 inches overall. So it's going to have at least a 5-inch handle and a 9-inch blade. And it should also have a cross guard, preferably a full crossbar. And finally, the knife should have a clip blade. To me, that is the classic Bowie knife. A clip blade that is over 9 inches long, a full guard, and a handle that is at least 5 inches. So a knife that is at least 14 inches overall. Now, if you were to ask me what is a medium Bowie knife or a small Bowie knife, I would say there's no such thing. All right, so there we go. So really what I'm talking about are Bowie knives, and Bowie knives, for me, they have to have a big blade and a big handle and a big cross guard. Now, there are some debate about all that, but to me, that's the classic. And I got two classics here for you. And the first one, I just recently picked this one up, so I think this is the first time you're going to be seeing it on the channel. And this is by Case. I bought it used. It was not in the best of shape. Matter of fact, the brass that you're seeing on here was almost green when I got it. And this was a Davy Crockett Bowie knife. You see there? There's Davy Crockett on the blade. Look at how shiny that is. And the knife is anything but in perfect shape. As you can tell right there, you see that blade edge? There's a little waving going on in the blade there from where somebody was pounding on something with the blade, which is interesting because this would have been a presentation type Bowie knife, considering you got the Davy Crockett in there. But this is a Case Bowie knife, and it fits the description that I said. It's got a handle that is right at 5 inches, I believe. I know the blade is just over 9 inches, and it's got a full cross guard. And it's a big, heavy knife, and it had now the original version, if you notice here, there's two little dots here. That's because originally this also had a brass strip up on top there. Now, I talked about the brass strip in another video where I said I thought it was to like add a little strength to the spine, but someone else said that actually the brass strip was there to because it was a softer metal, and it was to catch a blade that would hit it, so a blade would catch into the brass. I don't know. There's all sorts of myths going on about that brass strip. It might have just been decoration. Obviously, the one that was on here was just decoration because whoever was pounding on this down here knocked the strip right off. So, something to say about a Case Bowie knife. And you got two fullers running down there. I believe these were closely patterned after the old Collins number 18, which was actually sold as a machete. But in any case, this is the Case, what is this? I think it says 1836 right there. Can you see that? Case 1836 Bowie. Now, the other knife I have, you have seen before, and this is truly the one that most people think of, but it would have been made by Western, the Western W49 buoy, but this is the Baron-Son version of it, so kind of like the grandson of the Western 49 buoy. This one is known as the what did they call it? The Gold Rush buoy. This is the Baron-Son Gold Rush buoy, again with a nice wood handle, brass pins holding it on, full tang, the funky brass guard, and then a wonderful grind on there. Blades 9 1/4 inches long. The guard, every time I look at this guard, I think, man, that guard is way too big. And I've thought often of trimming the guard down, but really the guard is functional, especially when you think of it as a fighting knife, because the guard is there not only to protect your hand from sliding up on the blade, which I always figure that is the main purpose of a cross guard or any kind of guard on the knife, is really to protect your hand from sliding up on the blade. But this guard is also designed to stop something from hitting your hand, and that's why the guard is as big as it is. So really good knife too. This one uses, I think it's using like the a 440A equivalent steel. This this one here is in the Case True Sharp stainless steel, but you can see two wonderful looking buoys, USA made buoy knives, and true buoys in the sense that they have a blade that is over 9 inches long, and stout fighting knives. So it's something that you think of when you think America is the American bowie knife, which we stole from Sheffield, England, or actually, who knows where we got it from, but the original American bowie knives were mostly being made in Sheffield, England, but eventually we figured it out and we got bowie knives, American bowie knives. The Western 49 is definitely the classic, but you got to give props to the Case, which also has a long line going back probably to Collins and their machete, the Model 18 machete. In any case, there you have it. Happy Independence Day, everybody. I hope you enjoyed looking at a bunch of big old fixed blade knives made in America.
take just a second to thank you once again for dropping by and spending a few minutes here at Knife Chats with Tobias. I really do appreciate it, and I do appreciate any comments that you leave. So please remember to give me that thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell so you'll know when the next episode is up and running. Thanks again for dropping by. Really do appreciate your time here.